Okay, so it's the end of the day on Monday, the big conference day where we have most of the conferences. Sony's E3 press conference just finished up, and there's plenty to talk about. I say we start with the big three reveals that they had there.
Okay, so out of the 7 big reveals, which were
the 3 big surprises?
Okay, good.
Last Guardian.
Yeah, Last Guardian.
Final Fantasy VII Remake. Yeah. And Shenmue 3 Kickstart.
Which was at like 15K already.
Yeah, we've got someone looking up.
Yeah, it's
stuff.
already got 15K out of 2 mil.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
It's shooting for 2 mil. We had a joke throughout the day. Shenmue Kickstarter live and funded.
But yeah, it made a really big impression, and I think, we've had people asking for these games for a while. Last Guardian's been lost in development for a good long while.
Do it!
Final Fantasy VII Remake is something that people have been asking for a long time.
Yeah. And
Shenmue 3 was always that game that you weren't sure, you'd love to see, but you weren't sure if it was ever really going to happen because you didn't know if Sega was going to be willing to go behind it. You weren't sure who was going to fund it.
Yeah.
And now, fortuitously, Sony is able to say, hey, we've made deals with these people, and they're all coming to PS4, and we can all announce them at the same time. They might not be exclusive. Like, I noticed, I think they said Final Fantasy VII was first on PlayStation.
Yeah, first
on. Not sure about Shenmue, and obviously Last Guardian's an exclusive. But yeah, I'd say it's great timing for Sony, and frankly, it's just really exciting to see these games.
Yeah.
Being made.
I mean, so when they first opened up, when Sony first walked out on the stage, and it was their. Who was that walked out on the stage? I forget.
Oh, I don't remember.
Whoever it was that first walked out on the stage, wearing a suit, looked great, had energy. The crowd tonight there in LA had energy.
Yep. And
walked out there, and the first thing they showed us was Last Guardian.
Yeah, that's bold.
As soon as we saw it, we were both very excited.
Yeah.
And then we started, kind of breaking down the meta of okay, well, what's their conference, the entire scope and shape of the conference going to look like? This is something that people have been crying out for years. If they're leading with this,
they must have some pretty strong stuff afterwards.
Michael's exact words were, they must be confident.
Yeah.
And so as we went on and on and on in the conference, it was just kind of okay, well, what's going to top Last Guardian?
Final Fantasy VII Remake.
I don't know, maybe Final Fantasy VII, remade, remastered. The graphics on that thing, we didn't even recognize that it was Final Fantasy VII.
Not immediately.
It looked beautiful.
Yeah. But, granted, it was only a tiny little snippet. But that's all they needed to show.
They only needed to show Barrett's arm.
And Cloud's sword.
And Cloud's sword. And his hair.
His spiky hair.
Instant, it's happening.
Yeah.
And then the symbol. They redid the symbol.
Yeah.
So and then from there, it was just, and then Shenmue. Which, you were joking, it's going to cost you $500 just to try and go get an old copy.
Yeah. Anyone who has a copy of Shenmue out there, treasure it, or sell it for a bundle, whichever you want to do.
For hundreds of dollars.
Yeah,
whatever you can do, do it.
Those were huge. There were a couple other things I thought were pretty cool. Right after Last Guardian, they showed off a new IP called Horizon from Guerrilla Games, the makers of Killzone.
Red-haired lady
fighting robot dinosaurs.
Robot dinosaur.
Yeah. Gameplay perspective, it looked great, but just the premise alone, pretty strong.
With graphics, think graphically like Skyrim.
But better.
But better. But that's the HUD, the display when we were watching it was so small. She had a little bit of interaction when she was changing out her weapons.
Yeah.
A very small bit.
Little weapon wheel.
But for the most part, it was just this massive dinosaur is trying to destroy this survivalist.
Yeah.
Who's living in a post-apocalyptic time where machines have taken over urban areas.
Yeah.
And humans have been forced to live kind of on the fringes and kind of scavenge.
Yeah.
Almost in a hunter-gatherer sort of thing with composite bows that are made up of spare parts off of these dinosaur robots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was pretty good. That's Horizon Zero Dawn. They added a subtitle to that.
Yeah. So already a sequel maybe in the works.
Maybe. And I'd say the other one that really stood out to me was No Man's Sky. Got announced a while ago. We knew it was coming to PS4 and PC. This was the first time they showed off some actual live gameplay. And it was finally good to see the game in action, just because they haven't really given a whole lot of detail about what the actual gameplay was going to look like. We knew there was space stuff.
Right.
We knew there was some stuff on land, but actually seeing it come together, seeing him with a controller, flying to a new place, seeing how vast that world was. My goodness.
That's what stood out to me. I mean, this was a game that I had not seen before. I had not heard much about. And so for it to come up, one of the first things that happened, Michael said, "Oh, you haven't heard of this? Just watch." And sure enough, the gentleman showing it off actually just had a controller in his hand, and he was just live playing it for us on this massive screen in front of millions of us watching here at home, and hundreds there inside, thousands there inside the stadium there in LA. And he's flying this fighter, and he ports into the game, and there's just ships at war. And he clearly says, I could choose to fight here and pick a faction, pick a side, and intervene, or not. And then he zooms out of his location and shows one solar system around one star. And then he gradually zooms out, and there's just what I would assume would be billions, millions, thousands, hundreds of thousands.
There's easily thousands, if not millions.
Easily.
He zoomed out really, really far, really quickly. It's big.
And then he makes the point, every point of light you can see is its own star.
With its own solar system. And planet-sized planets.
With planet-sized planets. And at first I didn't get what that kind of triggered, like what is planet-sized planets? And so he goes to this random location that he had never been to before, goes to a planet, is the first one to discover it, which means the game is saved that data.
It's procedurally generated, so when this thing opens up, no one has seen any of this before, not even the developers, because they're setting this random world out into the universe.
And so if you or I then go into No Man's Sky in a couple of years, whenever it releases, or next year, or
they didn't say earlier this year. They said it was going to be this year.
Okay.
Hopefully it's still this year. Hopefully it doesn't get delayed, but you never know.
So whoever goes in, we can go to the planet that this guy discovered, and it will be named and have his discoveries named there forever.
Yeah.
Or we can never interact with this planet at all.
Because the universe is so
big. The universe, not just the world. Like
the universe is so big that will you be able to get to everything? Will everything ever be discovered by everyone?
Now, to me, this was like the most exciting thing that I love space fantasy. Like, love it. Free Space 1 and 2, those are probably two of my favorite games of all time. And playing space flight and space combat simulators, that's awesome. So he's flying around in space. Okay, that's great. What makes it unique? He flies down to the planet and then now becomes a sandbox where he's walking around in first-person mode. So this game is not just big enough for you to have space combat throughout a universe with hundreds of thousands of stars and solar systems. It's big enough that you can land on any of these planets that are inside any of these solar systems and then have combat and do stuff on these planets. You can walk around and explore. You can find new animals and name new species and find new resources and interact with it. And then he pulls out a blaster because he doesn't find any life forms. And he says, oh yeah, all of our planets are fully destructible. And he starts blowing things apart. And everything he shoots actually takes damage and is physically destroyed. There was nothing individually about the game that made me go, oh my gosh, except for the fact that it's so big and it's all in one game. That's amazing to me, and so I'm super stoked for that.
So that was a brief overview of the Sony press conference. Excellent.
Oh yeah, Sony wins. Sony, like it right now. Sony has like 100 points. 100 points easily.
Yeah. I would say of the conferences we saw today, Sony's was definitely the best.
Yeah, Sony at the top.
Microsoft after that, they had a good solid showing.
Yeah.
A lot of good games they showed off. Yeah. They just didn't have those really big, like, are they really actually announcing it reveals like Sony had.
They had the controller.
They had a nice controller.
And it is,
yeah. They have some good stuff there.
Yeah.
but nothing that quite had that wow.
But they're not remaking Final Fantasy
They're not
VII.
remaking Final Fantasy VII, though they might wind up getting that game anyway.
That's right, because they didn't say that was going to be exclusive.
Right.
So, yeah.
But yeah, I'd say EA's was probably after that.
Yeah, ranking third.
Sony,
Microsoft, EA,
and then Ubisoft. EA had some decent stuff with Battlefront
and Pele.
Pele.
For me, Pele was the highlight. I mean, it's.
And then Ubisoft unfortunately didn't have a whole lot there. Division looked pretty good.
Yeah, Aisha Tyler and awkward.
So, but I had a lot of fun.
Yeah. This was a great day.
Yeah.
We had a great day watching E3. Thanks so much to all of you who help us and support us and pray for us at Gospel and Gaming, and make it possible for us to do what we do, which is review games, critique games, interact with gaming culture, reach gamers. And as you all know, our purpose statement here at Gospel and Gaming is to equip the church and empower gamers. And so that's what we were doing today, was equipping one another to better be able to empower gamers and equip the church. So thanks so much for letting us do what we do. And thanks so much for following along on social media throughout today. And we'll hit you up and we'll hopefully play some of these games together
in the
in the near future.
Yeah.
So thanks so much. Have a great rest of your day.